Creepy stories are always a hit, unless you are the star of one. And it's always those personal experiences that get the most interaction. Some incidents and stories sound so unreal and are hard to explain that people end up not believing them. The human brain is known for ignoring the information that sounds fake because it hasn't experienced the same situation itself. But some incidents and stories are, in fact, very real, even if they are hard to explain. So, let us take a look at 10 incidents that are hard to believe but are totally real. But before we get into that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Number 10. Hidden power after a trauma. No one wishes to be part of a trauma, but everyone does wish to get some superpower one day without having to do anything. For example, imagine waking up one day and finding out you were basically a musical genius, even though you haven't practiced a day in your life. That would be pretty amazing, right? Well, a similar thing happened to Derek Amato, only there was a price to pay. In October of 2006, Derek suffered from a severe concussion after hitting his head at the end of the pool while diving. After this, Derek suffered from 35% hair loss and some memory loss, but he also acquired a skill that many practice their entire life for. He became a composer. Amato explained his condition in an interview. As I shut my eyes, I found these black and white structures moving from left to right, which in fact would represent in my mind a fluid and continuous stream of musical notation. It is believed that Derek might be the only person in the world to gain genius-level talent after experiencing trauma. And even though the acquired musical savant syndrome is already known to doctors, usually cases are not as strong as Derek's. Number 9. Globster. This incident spread the news of the first sightings of so-called aliens in this world. A mysterious globster washed ashore in the Philippines, prompting theories that it is the carcass of a creature from the deepest parts of the ocean, known as a blob. Covered in hair, the 6-meter-long object has baffled local residents, with some speculating it is a sign that something bad is going to happen. Local people flocked to the beach in the town of San Antonio, Oriental Mindoro province, when the grayish-white blob washed ashore. Many posed to take photos with the creature. Though authorities suspect the carcass is simply the decomposed body of a whale, local people expressed their shock at the arrival of such an unusual object. The majority of marine mammals that die at sea do not wash up on beaches. But after a recent 6.7 magnitude earthquake hit the island nation just a few days back, a number of these hairy carcasses washed ashore around the world, likely surfaced by storm surges caused by the shaking. In February 2017, another mysterious hairy blob washed up on shore of Dinagat Island, raising speculation about its origins. Number 8. Alien appearance. This is another case of recorded appearance of aliens. If you have a weak heart, you better skip this. A car was stopped by a police officer at midnight. When the police officer went to the car to ask for the license and registration, there was something that happened that only is seen in movies. As he bent a little to check out who was in the car, the officer turned really shiny and then vanished completely, leaving a pile of ashes on the ground. We cannot tell if he was taken by a spaceship or if he was just disintegrated by an energy beam. The car then quickly leaves the area. All of this is recorded on the police dashcam, and the whole incident is real. Number 7. Ghost couple. Old people have the most fascinating stories. On the 10th of November 2019, 60-year-old Sun Rui Zhan left his home and set off on a hike in the Pingtung Mountains. He didn't return home, and his family spent an anxious 10 days searching for him before a villager spotted and accompanied Sung to the nearest police station. Sung had apparently climbed up a rock wall during his hike and lost his glasses in the process, leading to confusion. He found a cave in which he stayed for a few days, but left after realizing he would die there if he didn't make some kind of plan to be rescued. He told his family afterward that he drank water from a stream and ate plants after his food ran out the same day he left for the mountains. When interviewed about his ordeal, Sun claimed that a ghost couple met up with him outside the cave and walked with him for 2 hours. He believed them to be the ancient ghosts of indigenous Taiwanese, and he further claimed that they disappeared from his side without a sound as soon as he reached the path leading down the mountain. Number 6. Trapped. A woman in Xi'an, China, was trapped in an elevator in 2016 after repairmen shut it off and let it rest on the first floor of the residential building she lived in. Unfortunately, the men only returned a month later and found the decomposing remains of the woman inside. It was a really horrifying scene. Her hands were disfigured from trying to escape her steel prison. It is alleged that the men never opened the elevator to check for passengers, but simply called out, and upon receiving no answer, they shut the elevator off and left to celebrate the Chinese New Year. The victim is said to have been mentally disabled and was only identified by her surname, Wu. Her family reported her disappearance, but did not undertake a search for her inside or outside the building. Earlier in 2019, a woman fell asleep in a plane en route to Toronto. When she awoke, the plane was empty, dark, and it was almost midnight. Luckily, she managed to open the plane door and was rescued by crew on the ground. Number 5. The Taos hum. This is one of the weirdest natural phenomena out there. The Taos hum is as big and famous of a mystery as the Grand Canyons and the Egyptian pyramids. Some residents and visitors in the small city of Taos, New Mexico, have for years been annoyed and puzzled by a mysterious and faint, low-frequency hum in the desert air. Weirdly, only about 2% of Taos residents report hearing the sound. Some believe it is caused by unusual acoustics. Whether described as a whir, hum, or buzz, and whether psychological, natural, or supernatural, no one has yet been able to locate the sound's origin. According to a survey, those who claim to hear the sounds hear many different sounds, suggesting the experiences may be subjective, not objective sounds. Number 4. The Giza Pyramids. The Giza Pyramids are one of the biggest mysteries in the world. No one knows the incident that caused the ancient Egyptians to make these huge pyramids. Built to endure an eternity, the pyramids have done just that. The monumental tombs are relics of Egypt's Old Kingdom era and were constructed some 4,500 years ago. One theory is that Egypt's pharaohs are expected to become gods in the afterlife. To prepare for the next world, they erected temples to the gods and massive pyramid tombs for themselves, which were filled with all the things each ruler would need to guide and sustain himself in the next world. The first pyramid was built in 2550 BC. His Great Pyramid is the largest in Giza and is around 481 feet tall. Its estimated 2.3 million stone blocks each weigh an average 2.5 to 15 tons. Tomb art includes depictions of ancient farmers working their fields and tending livestock, fishing and fowling, carpentry, costumes, religious rituals, and burial practices. Inscriptions and texts also allow research into Egyptian grammar and language. It is still not known how and why the ancient people made the pyramids, or from where they got the technology to build something so huge and magnificent. We don't know, so if you do, let us know. Number 3. The Neverending Lightning Storm. In western Venezuela, over the Catatumbo River, there is something that you will have never seen before. A storm that never ends. We know that sounds unreal the first time you listen to that, but this everlasting incident is very much real. Starting at 7 p.m. every night, lightning crashes over the water for 10 hours every night, 260 nights a year. Nobody knows for sure why it happens. Up until recently, the leading theory was that it had something to do with uranium in the bedrock, although scientists are starting to doubt it. Today, the leading theory is a complicated one. It posits that the shape of the mountains causes warm winds to collide with cold air from the Andes. The collision is then fueled by the rapidly evaporating water below and methane from a nearby oil field. Nobody knows for sure why it happens. Everything about it is mysterious and creepy, including one moment in 2010 when it inexplicably stopped. One day, the storm just died down without explanation and seemed to be over. Then, after 6 weeks of silence, it sparked up again and has been raging ever since. The same thing also happens in Tiwi Island of Australia. Would you want to live in a place where there is lightning forever? And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it on a future video. Number 2. It seems like this picture was photoshopped, as we couldn't find anything related to it on the internet. People born with 4 fingers on one hand are more common than it seems. And as for the picture on the left, the couple's faces seem to have been photoshopped.
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
Number 1. Dancing plague. You must have heard about plagues like Black Death, bubonic plague, Spanish plague, etc. But have you ever heard about the dancing plague? Many people don't believe it, but it's very real. In 1518, a dancing plague struck Strasbourg, Alsace. Also known as the dance epidemic, this weird condition took over 400 people's bodies and made them dance without rest. Some of these people even died of heart attacks, exhaustion, or strokes. It all started in July of 1518 when one woman named Mrs. Troffea started dancing uncontrollably in the middle of Strasbourg. She was later joined by 34 people, and soon after, the plague spread to around 400 people. At one point, it would kill around 15 people a day. Doctors and authorities realized this was not caused by supernatural causes and claimed this epidemic was due to hot blood. But instead of treating the patients, doctors advised them to basically dance it out by building them a wooden stage. It is believed that the modern marathon runner would not be able to survive this type of intense workout. To this day, scientists are not quite sure what caused this terrible epidemic. That is our list of 10 incidents and things that are hard to explain. Which one do you think has some explanation behind it? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.